Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys figure review. Now today we're going to be taking a look at the convention exclusive Stan Lee Watcher Edition. Now this is one based off Stan Lee from his appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2, his cameo where he was actually part of the MCU as an actual character alongside the Watchers, and I think that is absolutely awesome and one of the biggest reasons why I actually wanted to pick up this figure. Now I didn't get the original Stan Lee, and I know a lot of people actually missed out on that piece, and this is giving you sort of an option to pick up one that is an in-universe representation of Stan Lee. I mean, it's a little bit tricky to shoehorn Stan Lee into a display where it's just him, but if it's him as a character in the MCU, then absolutely go for it. Now, if you do want to pick up your very own Watcher edition of Stan Lee, he is in stock and up for pre-order right now with Philip Liu from Toys Wonderland HK. Now, the link for that is down in the description below. You can also pick up any of the Endgame, any of the Far From Home figures, or pretty much any other awesome releases that Hot Toys has up for pre-order, all down in the description below. Now, I'm just showing you the smaller box of the two that this does come with. It comes with a really unique sort of clamshell design compared to some of the normal Hot Toys releases, and the actual box for the figure itself is this smaller, sort of more manageable size box. I would actually appreciate it if they made all the rest of the figure boxes this size, and the rest of the figure boxes that sort of clamshell design, to give you a little bit more of an option in terms of how sort of unique and different the display can actually be. Either way, what we're going to do now is get all of Stan Lee's accessories out here and take a look at everything he comes with. Now, you can probably already tell from the unboxing, but Stan Lee here doesn't come with a hell of a lot of stuff, but the stuff that he does come with is more than awesome enough, in my opinion. Now, what we're going to do is look at each piece and then move them off to the side, and eventually we'll be taking a look at the backdrop piece itself. Now, taking a look at the biggest and best piece, in my opinion, that comes along with this Stan Lee, in terms of an accessory, that is. Stan Lee is obviously better than a moon rock here, but still, this piece is really, really good, and it has to be, because technically this is an accessory and also his display base. It's sort of a 2-for-1 deal, and they've painted it and sculpted it really nicely, as you'd expect from Hot Toys. I already mentioned the gradation in the paintwork from the actual unboxing video itself, but as you can see, it sort of darkens as it goes under the crevices and sort of lightens up towards the top where he's obviously been sitting on. It's got that sort of worn down look, and I think they have killed it when it comes to a moon rock. Obviously, Hot Toys has put in the hard yards in terms of making this as accurate as possible. They didn't just make it a flat grey sort of plastic, which they very well could have. They've done a really good job on the moon rock display base. Now, taking a look at his little circular dome here, as you can see, it's just a clear dome, and it does split apart. I'm not exactly sure why it would need to, but it can if you would like to do so. If maybe you want to have sort of one half only on, I'm not, again, sure why you would want to do that, but you definitely can if that's something you choose to do. Now, he does come with his little sunglasses here, and they are painted and detailed really nicely. They aren't full glasses, you can see they are just those little prongs that sort of slot on to the side of Stan Lee's face, and I'll show them on Stan Lee a little bit later in the video, but they are painted and sculpted really nicely with real plastic lenses there, and they do have, I should say, a little bit of a blue tint to them. And then the final pieces that he does come with, getting them all of them out here, he does have his little alternate hands, and I really do like all the detailing and weathering on these pieces themselves. You can see they have that sort of, I don't even know how to describe it, that fluoro sort of material, that sort of silver material that you see on high visibility vests. So they've captured that really nicely for the spacesuit itself, and you can see that the little buckle there is painted nicely. It has a bit of a sheen to it, and it does look like it's sort of cinched. As you can see, it's sort of more poofy, and then it sort of goes down there. So it looks like he's done the cinch up to tighten up over his hand. They've done a really good job of capturing that. I don't usually spend a hell of a lot of time talking about hands, but this time I thought it was warranted. Now, the final piece he does come with is his lenticular backdrop, and I said lenticular because that's exactly what it is. Now, moving it up here, I do want to show you what I mean. So if I move it, as you can see, the Watchers do actually move, and then up the top here, you can see a ship actually bursts through the jump point, which is really crazy. It does mess with my backdrop, or I shouldn't say with my backdrop, it does mess with my lighting a lot, so I do have to be careful how I show it, but it does move around when you have it in the display. So if you're looking around and you're getting different angles of the collection, this will sort of come to life and stuff will move around, and I really do love that. I haven't seen Hot Toys use anything lenticular in the past, but I absolutely appreciate them doing it here. Either way, what we're going to do now is get Stan Lee himself out here and take a look at that head sculpt. And here we have Stan Lee himself looking absolutely awesome. Hot Toys have killed it with the likeness on this Stan Lee figure. Now, unfortunately, I don't own the original figure, so I can't really compare the two, but I'd have to say this one is equally as good, if not a little bit better than that original one, just because of the advances in technology since that original one did come out in terms of the sculpting, paintwork, wrinkling, everything like that. I mean, that one was no slouch, but this one is absolutely phenomenal. Now, in order to sort of complete the look for your Stan Lee figure, you can install the glasses. Unfortunately, mine sit a little bit high on the nose. They should be sitting down a little bit further. In fact, they like to bounce around a little bit, and I think that's because it doesn't quite tuck in under his hair as it's supposed to. On the other side, it sits just fine, but on this side, it seems to struggle. Either way, that should just be on my figure, hopefully, not on all of them, but it does complete the look still very nicely for the actual head sculpt itself. Now, in order to completely finalize the look, you can install his fishbowl helmet on there, and it does slot in there very securely, and unfortunately, the clear background doesn't really help, but as you can see, it completes the look for the spacesuit very, very nicely. Now, in order to actually see some of the details on the inside, I will remove it, but as you can see, it does have a really nice sort of soft black plush lining on the inside there. It's just a sort of synthetic material. I don't know why I was stumbling over that word there, but it is a nice sort of soft material in there that does quite nicely replicate the look of a real life spacesuit. So I really applaud Hot Toys for going the extra mile and making that accurate, and not just having a regular 1/6 scale body in there and just saying, oh, you know, you won't see it. They have actually done the hard yards and made it just like a real spacesuit. Now, in terms of the yellow on the back here, you can see that there is a nice subtle weathering throughout the entire suit. That gives it a real nice sort of lived-in look. So it's part of a actual working, functioning universe, not just something that's been thrown on at the last second for a quick cameo. They really have done a nice job of making this look like a real-life practical suit that has been worn in outer space. You can see even there's sort of weathering all around, all over the joints, all over all the places that you expect to get a lot of sort of high wear and tear, and I really do appreciate what they have done there. I also appreciate all of the padding that they've added throughout the suit. You can feel where the body is, and it does move still rather nicely, but it does have a lot of padding in order to give it that proper sort of space suit vibe, exactly what you'd expect from the figure. I really do like all this quilting throughout as well. They've done a really good job with the stitching. Either way, enough gushing about the outfit. What I'm going to do now is move the camera down and give you a look at the legs. The rest of the outfit is equally as well done as the upper torso, of course, as you'd expect. It is really nicely sort of stitched all throughout. That stitching and sort of quilting design that I did like from the upper torso carries on throughout, and I really do like these sort of crisscross knee pads, and you can see there's a really nice subtle sort of weathering throughout. So it's sort of like he's been kneeling down on the lunar surface that he's been sitting on for the however many years he's been there, and it's sort of made these all dusty, and I really do like the fact that they've done that. And you can see these strips continue on throughout the rest of the outfit down the legs, and I really do like the continuation of the design. Now, something that I did notice before is the fact that if you lift up the pants, I was looking to see if they had socks, but the outfit continues into the boots themselves, which I think is really awesome. And so too are the lunar boots. You can see that they do have a really nice simple tread, and they do have a really thick sort of design to them. Now, I would assume this Stan Lee figure is quite a lot taller than that original one, just because of the size of the shoes here, which do look very, very spacesuit reminiscent. So I do think they do the job of looking like an actual spacesuit boot. Now, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of weathering on them, which I think is a little bit annoying, because I would expect a little, like a light dusting of grey around the actual base of the feet, but still, they do a good enough job of looking like Stan Lee's lunar shoes from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, bringing out Star-Lord for a quick side-by-side size comparison, as you can see, he's a little bit taller than Stan Lee, but then again, Stan Lee is wearing those big shoes that I was just mentioning, so you'd expect there to be a little bit of a bigger height difference compared to the original Stan Lee figure. But these two look really good together. I mean, they are completely different, polar opposites in terms of the color scheme, but I still think that they look just that damn good together. On the shelf, these two will really work. In fact, the entire Guardians lineup will work, because Stan Lee brings that added pop of color that I think that line really is just missing, obviously, until we get Mantis or Nebula for those sort of really nice vibrant colors. However, for now, the only other vibrant figure in the line is Gamora, and then again, we don't even really have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Gamora released yet. So for now, Stan Lee is that really needed pop of color for your Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 display. And because, of course, Stan Lee is the grandfather of all things Marvel, here you can see him standing next to the Mark 50, just so you can get an idea of what he'd look like against some of the other figures that don't necessarily originate from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I still think this looks really, really good, and as I said before, this is an in-universe version of Stan Lee, so technically he is a character in the MCU in this outfit, so you could sort of fudge it into whichever display you see fit. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things about the Watcher Stan Lee. The first annoying thing is his glasses. Unfortunately on mine, they don't really tuck into the ear properly, so they sit a little bit high on the bridge of his nose, and they have a tendency to want to fly out whenever they get the chance. The second annoying thing is the weight of his backpack. This is actually a rather heavy piece, so that means when you have him standing on the shelf, he does tend to lean backwards and like to topple over. The third annoying thing is his fishbowl helmet that doesn't really like to stay together, and unfortunately, mine has gone flying off his head quite a few times because when you try to remove it and you're applying friction, they like to split apart and go flying to the other side of the room. The first cool thing about this Watcher Stan Lee is his awesome Moon Rock display base and also accessory. I really like what Hot Toys have done here. I hope that we get more sort of diorama style pieces to add to our shelves, because it really does add to the look of the Guardian shelf, having an extra piece to sort of set the scene of where they're in. The second cool thing is all of the mixed media throughout this entire suit. There's sort of rubber tubing, there's plastic bits and pieces, there's fabric, there's pleather. They have really done a lot of research in order to get this outfit looking just right. The third cool thing has to be that Stan Lee likeness. They have killed it once again with this head sculpt. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this piece can also be used on a Stan Lee figure if you just like to use the spacesuit for something else and take the head sculpt off. And I think that versatility is something that I really do appreciate. Just wrapping up on this Hot Toys Watcher edition of Stan Lee. This figure has blown me away. I really didn't know what to expect when I was picking up this piece. I mean, I'd seen it at San Diego, I'd seen it at ACGHK, but it just looked like Stan Lee in a spacesuit. What's so interesting about that? But no, when you get the figure in hand, you can see the love and attention to detail that Hot Toys have put into this piece right here. The outfit itself looks very, very simple. It presents very simple, but in person, it's actually incredibly complicated. There's padding, there's straps, there's little harnesses, there's bits and pieces which you wouldn't expect to see on there that makes this sort of simple outfit actually rather complex. There's a lot of mixed media going on, and they have killed it with the outfit itself. So too have they done with the likeness. It is without a doubt Stan Lee. There is no mistaking who it's supposed to be. The expression, the paintwork, the sculpt, it is without a doubt the best Stan Lee in 1/6 scale on the market. That is not up for debate. This is hands down the best version. Now, in terms of accessories, he doesn't come with a hell of a lot of stuff, but as I said in the accessories segment, it's more than enough for this piece itself. I love the fact that we are getting a diorama style sort of display base slash accessory, so it really sets the scene for where he was, the planet that he was on, or I should say the moon that he was on in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, so you can have him in his element and also add something a little bit extra to your Guardians of the Galaxy shelf. And he does that as well with the color of his outfit. It adds a little bit of a pop, a little bit of life to the Guardian shelf, because right now it's looking a little bit drab and a little bit dreary, unfortunately. So with your Stan Lee, add a little bit of life back into your Guardian shelf. Either way, this Stan Lee figure is in stock and up for pre-order right now with Philip Liu from Toys Wonderland HK, and the link for that is down in the description below. Also check out any of the Endgame pre-orders, any of the Spider-Man Far From Home pre-orders, or anything else that Hot Toys has going up for pre-order anytime soon. All down in the description below. Also check out 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. If you want to come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, or get an upcoming sneak preview at what I have coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.